Salutare tuturor, eu sunt Rafael și bine v-am regăsit la o nouă joacă. De această dată am primit o cheiță pentru Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe și s-a lansat recent, da, pe 27 aprilie. Am primit dinainte să se lanseze jocul, mă rog, și am tot amânat. Hai să jucăm, să îl încercăm. Am văzut la Jacksepticeye, parcă s-a jucat și m-am uitat la el că ideea e, jocul ăsta este destul de vechi. El s-a lansat nou și un fel de remaster și am mai adăugat câteva chestii pe aici pe acolo, dar Stanley Parable, el este foarte vechi, e 2013 ceva de genul, da, din octombrie, și e foarte clasic în comunitatea de gaming, adică ăsta este văzut ca un joc foarte, foarte bun. Are very pozitiv și relansarea lui după atâția ani, cam aproape 10 ani, zi din nou very positive și zicea Jacksepticeye, îi place extrem de mult jocul și că e foarte bine închegat. Toată ideea e că tu joci cu un caracter și ți se spune oarecum ce să faci, iar tu decizi dacă vrei sau nu. Nu ne-am mai jucat până acum niciodată și hai să încercăm să vedem dacă ne place, dacă nu ne place, nu ne place. Ideea e că, din păcate, toate jocurile pe care eu le joc trebuie să le dau brightness-ul mult mai mare, pentru că imaginea din placa de captură trecută cumva și se întunecă. Please enter the current time. Cât e ceasul acum? Ok, mamă, și asta contează. Este... Ok, înțeleg, ăștia nu folosesc sistemul, ei folosesc AM/PM. Ok, atunci este 2 PM, 52 de minute chiar dacă ești curios. 53 tocmai ce s-a făcut, 2:53 PM, da, e bine. Adică 2 după amiază, gen la prânz. Accessibility așa, ok, hai să începem gaming-ul. Se produce gaming. Mai dăm la setări și ne uităm la video, nu cred că are niciun sens, corect? V-Sync off, on, off, hai să-l scoatem să vedem. Am 500 de frame-uri doar, ok. Am 600 de frame-uri, stăm pe spate. Click to skip. O să traduc eu în mare parte. E povestea despre Stanley.
Stanley worked for a company in a big building where he was employee number 427.
Le-a angajat-o 427.
Employee number 427's job was simple.
Un job simplu.
His desk in room 427 and he pushed buttons on a key.
El apasă butoane.
Orders came to him through a monitor on his desk, telling him what buttons to push.
Se spune pe monitor ce să apese.
And in what order.
Și în ce ordine.
This is what employee 427 did every day of every month of every year.
Asta face zilnic tot anul.
Might have considered it soul-rending. Stanley relished every moment that the orders came in, as though he had been made exactly for this job.
Nu știu să nu relished, dar cred că Stanley era fericit cu jobul. Da, Stanley e fericit, chiar dacă are un job stupid unde doar apasă pe tastatură.
Something very peculiar happened. Something that would forever change Stanley.
S-a întâmplat ceva
Something he would never quite forget.
Ce să-l schimbe pe Stanley.
For nearly an hour when he realized that not one single order had arrived on the monitor for him to follow.
Nu mai venit comenzile.
No one showed up to give him instructions, call a meeting, or even say hi.
Nu era nimeni în clădire.
Never in all his years at the company had this happened. This complete
Nu s-a mai întâmplat până acum.
Something was very clearly wrong. Shocked, frozen solid, Stanley found himself unable to move for the longest time. But as he came to his wits and regained his senses, he got up from his desk and stepped out of his office.
Și a plecat din birou. Deci el non-stop asta făcea, apăsa pe tastatură pentru că îi se spunea pe monitor ce să apese. Și deodată, random, după atâția ani de muncă, nu mai primește comenzi. Și trebuie să vadă ce face. Iar acum este genul de joc unde dacă eu rămân aici la calculator și nu fac absolut nimic, probabil naratorul o să ne zică ceva, o chestie de genul. Adică, oarecum, ai două drumuri de ales și ori îl urmezi pe narator, ori faci de capul tău. Eu o să vă traduc pentru cei care nu vorbiți engleză. Ok, deci tu poți să faci orice ai chef. El nu poți traduc chiar tot, dar mă, ce înaltă e ușa asta și ce mici suntem noi, sau? Ok. 427 ăștia suntem angajatul. Noi suntem. Toată lumea era dispărută. Și noi ne-am decis să ne ducem la meeting room, că așa ne zice asta. Dacă nu vrem să ne ducem, nu ne ducem, știi? Și începe să se facă urât. Da, deci angajații au dispărut, colegii noștri de muncă, toată lumea, nu e nimeni la job, practic. Hai să vedem. Nu pot să dau zoom, cred, eram curios. Au. Pot să sting calculatorul. Ok.
Stanley went around touching every little thing in the office, but it didn't make a single difference, nor did it advance the story in any way.
Ok, asta acum face mișto de noi, pentru că zice că Stanley s-a dus peste tot și apasă oriunde, orice, dar nu avansează povestea. Adică ne-a zis chestia asta doar pentru că noi am făcut-o. Înțelegeți ce fel de joc este? Dacă noi nu făceam asta, nu ne-ar fi spus niciodată. Dar a făcut o mică glumiță, a zis că povestea n-avansează niciun fel dacă faci asta. Ca și cum, bro, nu mai ai apăsat, doar du-te unde ți-am zis să te duci. Asta e farmecul jocului, cum ar veni, dar noi tot o să apăsăm pe orice. Dar pare că ăsta nu e genul de joc unde putem să ratăm noi o cameră, genul și asta să fie deschisă și chiar e, dar nu e. Deci cred că pur și simplu trebuie să mă duc unde zice el.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Știu exact ce trebuie să fac. Exact, băi, știu 100% ce trebuie să fac. O singură persoană ne poate ajuta și am nevoie de telefon. Am nevoie de telefon pentru asta. Exact, te-au zis ce cred și eu. Fii atent, Ben, mă joc Stanley Parable. Am aici de ales între stânga și dreapta, ce mă duc? Mă duc dreapta? Mă duc stânga? Zi, mă duc stânga sau nu? Stânga sau dreapta? Stânga? Stânga, bă, ne-a zis-o Ben. Hai, let's go. Pe unde ne-a zis naratorul, practic. Ăsta e meeting room.
There was not a single person here either.
Nu era nicio persoană aici.
In a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there.
Sfaturi să nu fii concediat. Cum să rezolvi o discută cu un angajat, cu un coleg de muncă. De cine s-a deschis asta? Asta e prima cameră care se poate desface.
Stanley stepped into the broom closet, but there was nothing here.
Dar nu era
So he
nimic acolo.
turned around and got back on track.
Așa că a plecat din cameră. Să zic dacă ne mai zice asta ceva, nu cred că ne mai zice. De ce să...
There was nothing here.
Nu era nimic
No
aici.
choice to make, no path to follow, just an empty broom closet.
Era
No
doar...
reason to still be here.
Nu e niciun motiv să fie aici. Ok. Eu știu unde e boss.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Hai să mergem jos noi, nu să mergem sus, cum ne-a zis el. Apar n-am unde mă duc. Suntem în parcare.
Stanley just couldn't do it.
N-a putut să o
He
facă.
considered the possibility of facing his boss. Admitting he had left his post during work hours, he might be fired for that.
Poate fi
And in
concediat,
such a
Stanley.
competitive economy, why had he taken that risk? All because he believed everyone had vanished.
Deci nu mai poți să te
His boss
întorci.
would think he was crazy. And then something occurred to Stanley.
S-a întâmplat ceva.
Maybe, he thought to himself, maybe I am crazy.
Poate sunt
All
nebun.
of my co-workers blinking mysteriously out of existence in a single moment for no reason at all. None of it made any logical sense. And as Stanley pondered this, he began to make other strange observations.
Și ne o să repetă camera.
Why couldn't he see his feet when he looked down?
De ce nu văd picioarele, auzi?
Doors close automatically behind him
Se
wherever
închid
he
ușile singure.
And for that matter, these rooms were starting to look pretty familiar. Were they simply repeating? No, Stanley said to himself, this
Unu,
is
doi pe
all
patru.
too strange. This can't be real. And at
Nu poate
last,
fi real.
he came to the conclusion that had been on the tip of his tongue. He just hadn't found the words for it. I'm dreaming!
Visez.
He yelled.
A
This is
țipat.
all a dream.
E doar un vis.
What a relief Stanley felt
A fost
to have
ușurat.
finally found an answer, an explanation. His co-workers weren't actually gone. He wasn't going to lose his job.
Nu o să-și piardă
He wasn't
jobul, doar
crazy
visa.
after all. And he thought to himself, I suppose I'll wake up soon. I'll have to go back to my boring real-life job pushing buttons. I may as well enjoy this while I'm still lucid.
Hai să mă
So,
bucur.
he imagined himself flying.
Se imagina că zboară.
Gently float above the ground.
Bă, zburăm!
Then he imagined himself soaring through space on a magical star.
Mergem prin
wheel,
spațiu.
And it too appeared. It was so much fun. And Stanley marveled that he had still not woken up.
E mirat că
How
nu
was
se
he
trezește.
remaining so lucid?
Ok, lucid înseamnă... lucid dreaming înseamnă că visezi, dar știi că visezi. Și îți poți controla visul. Pentru că ăsta nu se mai oprește din vorbit, trebuie să pun pauză ca să înțelegeți. Și naratorul ne spune că Stanley a realizat că el visează, că nu e nebun, că n-au dispărut colegii de muncă. Și ne-a zis că noi am mers pe jos, pe scări în jos, pentru că ne era frică să vorbim cu șeful. De-aia nu ne-am dus sus să vorbim cu el. Dar în realitate probabil nu exista niciun șef, pentru că e vis sau nu
the
știu.
strangest question of them all entered Stanley's head.
O întrebare
One he was
ciudată.
amazed he hadn't asked himself sooner. Why is there a voice in my head?
Deci e o voce în capul meu
everything that I'm doing and thinking.
care îmi dictează orice.
Now the voice was describing itself being considered by Stanley, who found it particularly strange.
True.
I'm dreaming about a voice describing
Visez o voce.
thinking about how it's describing my thoughts, he thought. And while he thought it all very
Ok, deci ăsta se gândește că are o voce în cap care îi explică cum gândește el, că e în vis și cu vocea cum gândește. Deci e un Inception de ăsta, voce în voce, gând.
The truth was that, of course, this was not a dream.
N-a fost un vis.
How could it be?
Cum ar putea?
Was Stanley simply deceiving himself, believing that if he's asleep, he doesn't have to take responsibility for himself? Stanley is as awake right now as he's ever been in his
E
life.
treaz. Păi zi ce facem?
Now, hearing the voice speak these words was quite a shock to Stanley. After all, he knew for certain, beyond a doubt, that this was in fact a dream. Did the voice not see him float and make the magical stars just a moment ago? How else would the voice explain all that?
N-a zburat adineauri, cum nu e
part
vis?
of himself too. Surely, if he could just... He would prove it. He would prove that he was in control, that this was a dream. So he closed his eyes gently,
Închis ochii.
and he invited himself to wake up.
Să se
He
trezească.
felt the cool weight of the blanket on his skin, the press
Simțea
of the
pătura
mattress on his back, the
pe corp.
fresh air of a world outside this one. Let me wake up, he thought to himself.
Lasă-mă să mă trezesc.
I'm through with this dream. I wish it to be over.
Vreau să se termine
Let me
visul.
go back to my job. Let me continue pushing the buttons. Please.
Lasă-mă să mă duc la job, să apăs pe butoane.
I want my apartment and my wife and my job. All I want is my life exactly the way it's always been.
Îmi vreau viața înapoi.
My life is normal. I am normal.
Eu sunt normal.
Everything will be fine.
Dați și voi un like până vorbește ăsta, că vorbește non-stop.
Okay.
Sunt ok. Avem și un G-Fuel cu orange vibe. Și genul l-am băut aproape pe tot.
Stanley began screaming.
început să țipe.
Someone wake me up. My name is Stanley.
Mă cheamă
I have a
Stanley,
boss, I have an
treziți-mă.
office. I am real. Please, just someone tell me I am real. I must be real. I must be. Can anyone hear my voice? Who am I? Who am I? And everything went black.
A leșinat, cred. Deci nu e vis.
This is the story of a woman named Mariella.
Ok. Schimbăm caracterul.
Mariella woke up on a day like any
Mariela e
She
femeie.
rose, got dressed, gathered her belongings, and walked to her place of work.
S-a dus la
On
muncă.
this particular day, her walk was interrupted by the body of a man
A
who
văzut
had
corpul unui
stumbled
bărbat
through town talking and screaming to himself.
care
then
vorbea
collapsed
singur.
dead on the sidewalk. And although she would soon turn to go call for an ambulance, for just a few brief moments, she considered the strange man. He was obviously crazy.
Era
This
nebun.
she knew. Everyone knows what crazy people look like. And in that moment, she thought to herself how lucky she was to be normal.
Se bucura că e normală și că ăsta e nebun de pe
I
jos.
am in control of my mind. I know what is real and what isn't. It was comforting to think this, and in a certain way, seeing this man made her feel better. But then she remembered the meeting she had scheduled for that day, the very important people whose impressions of her would affect her career, and by extension, the rest of her life.
Se bucura că e normală și ăla nu.
So it was only a moment that she stood there, staring down at the body.
Se holba la corp.
And then she turned and ran.
Și apoi a plecat. A fugit, de fapt. Ok. Deci ăla a ieșit din clădire și a nebunit și țipa peste tot. What? Ce caut aici, șobolane? A fost un vis în vis?
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Nu, îmi zic că trebuia să mă duc să vorbesc cu șeful și de-aia am eșuat.
When Stanley came to a set of two open doors, he entered the door on his left.
O să se întâmple la fel, cred că dacă ne ducem pe ușa din dreapta.
Yet there was not a single person here
Nu
either.
era nimeni aici, ok.
Feeling a wave of
Să ajungem la scări.
Stanley decided to go up to his... Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Mergem la boss. Bossule, unde ești, tată? Da, trebuie neapărat să ajungem aici, aparent.
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life.
Tatavanul!
Shocked, unraveled, Stanley wondered in disbelief who orchestrated this. What dark secret was being held from him? What he could not have known was that the keypad behind the boss's desk guarded the terrible truth that his boss had been keeping from him. And so the boss had assigned it an extra secret PIN number. 2845. But of course, Stanley couldn't possibly have known this. Incredibly, by simply pushing random buttons on the keypad, Stanley happened to input the correct.
Deci ăsta zice că șeful nostru practic își ținea secretele în spatele ușii care era cu keypad-ul și că e codul 2845 și că Stanley n-are de unde să știe codul acesta, dar a apăsat aleatoriu și l-a nimerit. Acum văd că s-a schimbat treaba, deci naratorul se preface că Stanley nu-l aude pe el. Adică se preface că noi nu-l auzim pe narator, cum ar veni. Prin noroc. Cred că sunt 0,01%, 0,000 la nu știu câți de 0 șanse să nimerești un cod de 4 cifre cu toate cifrele acolo. Asta a deschis aici. Da, ok. Mă simt ca într-un hobby de la pe Roblox. Unde acum am ieșit din clădire și intrăm pe sub pământ, prin lavă, prin... Coborâm în clădire. Și înseamnă peculiar. Cred că avea anxietate? Asta vrea să zică? Se gândea la jobul lui. Se simte așa acum. Trebuie să primească un răspuns întrebarea. Faza e că Stanley pentru... Escape. Scăpăm? Sau nu? Cred că e timpul pentru prietenul nostru Ben să ne ajute. Stai așa, Ben. Ben, zi-mi repede dacă scăpăm. Scăpăm, Ben? Mergem la stânga aici să scăpăm? What? Ben vrea să scăpăm? Ești sigur, Ben?
Although this passageway had the word escape written on it,
the truth was
that at the end of this hall, Stanley would meet his violent death.
Ar fi murit violent la final. No shot. Nah, n-are cum, nu e nimeni în jocul ăsta, cum ar... Ușa din spate nu era închisă. Stanley a avut toate oportunitățile să se întoarcă înapoi. Că nu era închisă ușa. Cum ar fi mare jumpscare acum? Boom!
At this point, Stanley was making a conscious, concerted effort to walk forward and willingly confront his death.
Deci Stanley se duce acolo și va muri de bunăvoie, practic. Ok. Hai să vedem. Cine bă, loading...
As the machine whirred into motion and Stanley was inched closer and closer to his demise, he reflected that his life had been of no consequence whatsoever. Stanley can't see the bigger picture. He doesn't know the real story.
Luați-mă de aici, du-mă la stânga. You cannot jump.
Perhaps his death was of no great loss, like plucking the eyeballs from a blind man.
No.
So he resigned and willingly accepted this violent end to his brief and shallow life. Farewell, Stanley.
La revedere, Stanley. No, Ben, m-ai păcălit! Mi-ai zis să ies pe aici, Ben!
Farewell, Stanley, cried the narrator, as Stanley was led helplessly into the enormous metal jaws.
A intrat alt narator.
In a single visceral instant,
Instant.
Stanley was obliterated.
A fost distrus.
The machine crushed every bone in his body,
I-a stăvit orice os.
instantly.
Murind instant. Wait. Bine, dacă ai, în teorie, dacă ai muri strivit instant de o forță masivă, cum sunt pereții ăștia, care nu vor opune rezistență că e corpul nu știu cum, adică instant, nu cred că ai simți. Sau? Gen, nu cred că e o moarte dureroasă. Sau? Sau prea dureroasă. The Stanley
And
Parable.
yet it would be just a few minutes before Stanley would restart the game,
Și ar fi
back
doar
in
câteva
his
minute.
office, as alive as ever.
O să se
What
restarteze
exactly
jocul.
did the narrator think he was going to accomplish?
O să se restarteze jocul sau nu? Ni s-a schimbat naratorul.
When every path you can walk has been created for you long in advance, death becomes meaningless.
Și de cine mi-aduce aminte femeia asta? De femeia din Hitman, care îi zice Agent 47.
Making life the
Le
same.
zice misiunile.
Do you see now? Do you see
Ah,
that Stanley was already dead from the moment he hit start?
deci că Stanley ar fi murit dinainte să înceapă jocul, adică era... Ăsta ne arată tot drumul nostru de la începutul jocului. Că era blocat în capăt acolo. Bine, n-avem scările. The two doors. Aha, și noi am făcut stânga sau dreapta, deci nu ne arată ce continua. Office computers. E ca și cum ne arată toate asset-urile prin care am trecut, toate obiectele, cifre, lumini, uși, credite, s-a terminat jocul. Kevin Brighting as the narrator. Șabalana. What? Boss's office? Dar de ce în mai multe culori? Ce-am făcut? M-am terminat jocul deja?
Now look closely, Stanley. See how it's impossible for the player to do anything in this room.
Narration outtakes. Astea au fost scoase din joc. Sau?
It's the kind of thing you pick up on in children.
Sau nu știu ce. Oh, bă, gata! Uite, dacă apăs click stânga, scoate sunetele astea ca și cum ar apăsa pe calculator. Mă, ce jocul ăsta e întrebarea? Trebuie să dau restart la joc? Begin the game again? Exit?
Oh, look at these two. How they wish to destroy one another. How they wish to control one another. How they both wish to be free.
Off.
Can you see?
Poți să
Can you
vezi?
see how much they need one another?
Au nevoie unul de altul.
No, perhaps not. Sometimes these things cannot be seen.
Uneori nu poți să vezi lucrurile astea.
But listen to me. You can still save these two. You can stop them
Poți să-i
robot
salvezi.
before they both fail. Push escape and press quit. There's no other way to beat
Apasă escape și quit, dar de ce nu begin the game again?
this game. As long as you move forward, you'll be walking someone else's path.
Să mergi în drumul altcuiva.
I want it to be your only true choice.
E singura ta alegere.
Choose it. Don't let time choose for you. Don't let...
Oh, come on.
All of his co-workers were gone.
Not
What
again.
did it mean?
Nu iar
Stanley decided to go to
șobolane.
the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Ah, e efectiv la fel, deci...
When Stanley came to a set of two open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Deci trebuie
Yet
neapărat...
there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss. Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Oh, e ceva aici. Cred că te poți duce cu liftul, dar... Apare dacă nu faci ce zice jocul, o să
Stepping into his
pierzi.
manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication
No!
of any human life. What could it mean? Stanley wondered aloud.
Care era, mă,
to
codul?
nobody. He began
Doi.
wildly tearing through papers on
Mai
the
știu
boss's
care
desk,
era.
pulling books off the shelf, looking behind paintings, desperate for clues to his situation. But as Stanley was in such a rush to get through the story as quickly as possible, he didn't even have a single minute to just let the narrator talk.
E supărat ăsta că n-a lăsat naratorul să vorbească.
Isn't healthy, so he relaxed for a few
N-a mers
minutes
codul?
with some calming new age music.
Băi, nu s-a mai deschis ușa. Am băgat codul bun, sau? Wait. Ce se întâmplă?
Feeling soothed and rejuvenated,
Beau țuică.
Stanley calmly walked forward into the opened passageway.
Ah, lol, pentru că am băgat codul atât de repede, jocul ne-a băgat muzică să ne relaxăm. Că nu l-a lăsat pe narator să vorbească. Doamne.
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door
No,
of the
no, no.
mind control facility.
Ne controlează mintea.
The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens.
Cameră imensă,
What horrible
cu
secret did
televizoare.
this place hold? Stanley thought to himself. Did he have the strength to find out?
Ok. Mi-aduce aminte puțin de chestia din Squid Game. Dacă știți.
Now the monitors jumped to life, their true nature revealed. Each bore the number of an employee in the building.
Fiecare era angajat.
Stanley's co-workers. The lives
Legea lui
of so
Stanley.
many individuals reduced to images on a screen, and Stanley, one of them, eternally monitored in this place where freedom meant nothing.
Libertatea nu însemna nimic. Ce acolo? Aia suntem noi sau? Nu-mi dau seama. Unii sunt concediați, văd, scrie fired.
This mind control.
Noi cât eram? 4 și ceva, 4, 5, 7, nu mai știu. 4, nu mai știu.
Had Stanley really been under someone's control all this time? Was this the only reason he was happy with his boring job? That his emotions had been manipulated to accept it blindly?
Emoțiile au fost
No.
manipulate.
He refused to believe it. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control.
Viața lui în mâinile altcuiva.
It was
Niciodată.
unthinkable, wasn't it? Was it even possible? Had he truly spent his entire life utterly blind to the world? But here was the proof. The heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions. Happy or sad
Mind control
or
status.
content. Walking, eating, working, all of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another human life. For he would dismantle the controls once.
A oprit sistemul cu totul. Cred? Și acum el era liber, de-aia era supărat că aia îi controlau mintea. Să muncească acolo la butoane.
And a rising chill of uncertainty. Was it over?
S-a terminat?
Yes. He had won.
A câștigat.
He had defeated the machine. Unshackled himself from someone else's command.
S-a descătușat.
Freedom was mere moments away. And yet, even as the immense door slowly opened, Stanley reflected on how many puzzles still lay unsolved. Where had his co-workers gone?
Unde au dispărut
How
colegii de
had he
muncă?
been freed from the machine's grasp? What other mysteries did this strange building hold?
Suntem liberi, bă.
As sunlight streamed into the chamber, he realized none of this mattered to him, for it was not knowledge or even power that he had been seeking, but happiness. Perhaps his goal
Nu trebuia
had
să
not
facă
been
lumină
to
și în spate.
understand, but to let go. No longer would anyone tell him where to go, what to do, or how to feel.
Nu o să-i mai zică nimeni ce să
Whatever
facă.
life he lives, it will be his.
Viața va fi a
That
lui.
was all he needed to know. It was perhaps the only thing worth knowing. Stanley stepped through the open door.
Acum am realizat că eu merg în faza cu click stânga dacă țin apăsat.
Stanley felt the cool
Click
breeze
dreapta și
upon
click
his
stânga.
skin, the feeling of liberation,
A simțit
the
bătaia
immense
vântului.
possibility of the new path before him. This was exactly the way, right now, that things were meant to happen. And Stanley was
Stanley era fericit. Happy ending. Cam asta a fost jocul, v-a plăcut? Beat the game. Wait. Nu trebuia să facem aia?
When
Hai
Stanley
să încercăm
came to
ușa
a
din
set
dreapta.
to open door, this was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it.
A vrut să admire.
Yes, truly a room worth admiring. It had really been worth the detour after all, just to spend a few moments here in this immaculate, beautifully constructed room. Stanley simply stood here, drinking it all in.
Deci asta era lounge unde stăteau angajații să se relaxeze. Și să zice că am luat un detour, că ne-am dus pe lângă să ne relaxăm aici.
Yes, really, really worth it being here in the room.
Chiar merită să stăm
Room
aici.
so utterly captivating that even though all your co-workers have mysteriously vanished, here you sit looking at these chairs and some paintings. Really worth it.
Chiar merită. Ți-au dispărut colegi de muncă și tu stai aici, te holbezi.
But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
Nu, hai să mergem în față.
Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago.
Mi-am aminte de Zoro din One Piece. Zice că n-am făcut stânga, că nu ne pricepem la direcții, la nu știu ce. Warning, penalty for misuse, așa, of cargo lift. Hai, let's go.
Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here.
Acum vorbește direct cu noi.
Enemy, really, I'm not.
Nu sunt inamicul tău.
I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this
Povestea a fost
time.
despre tine mereu.
There's someone you've been neglecting, Stanley. Someone you've forgotten about.
E cineva pe care ai uitat.
Stop trying
De
to make
care ai
every
uitat.
decision by yourself. Now, I'm not asking for me, I'm asking for her.
Eu te rog pentru ea, nu pentru mine.
Stanley, your chance to redeem yourself, to put your work aside, to let her back into your
Să o
life.
primești înapoi în viața ta.
She's been waiting.
Ea te așteaptă. What
That's
the...
so, Stanley. You
Oh.
Oh, Stanley, is that you?
Stanley!
Hold on, sweetie. Sorry to keep you waiting. I'm just pulling the bread out of the oven.
Scot pâinea din cuptor.
Right. Okay, there we go.
427.
All right, now, I want you to come in and tell me all about your
Nevasta noastră.
gotcha. Oh, come on. Did you actually think you had a loving wife?
Chiar credeai
You
că ai o
wanna
nevastă
commit
care te
their life to
iubește?
you. I'm trying to make a point here, Stanley. I'm trying to get you to see something.
Încerc să
Come
fac să vezi,
inside.
să vezi ceva.
Let me show you what's really going on here.
Vine înăuntru. Ia WhatsApp.
This is a very sad story about the death of a man named Stanley.
Moartea unui Stanley. Good morning, employee 427. Press U on your keyboard.
Stanley is quite a boring fellow. He has a job that demands nothing of him, and every button that he pushes is a reminder of the inconsequential nature of his existence. Look at him
Okay.
there, pushing buttons, doing exactly what he's told to do. Now
Faci
he's
mișto de
pushing
ăsta, că
buttons.
apăsăm orice buton.
Now he's eating lunch. Now he's going home.
Cum se duce
Now
acasă, cum
he's
se întoarce la
coming back to
muncă.
work. One might even feel sorry for him, except that he's chosen this life.
El a ales viața asta.
But in his mind, in his mind he can go on fantastic adventures. From behind his desk, Stanley dreamed of wild expeditions into the unknown, fantastic discoveries of new lands. It was wonderful. And each day that he returned to work was a reminder that none of it would ever happen to him.
Zice că e chestia aia tipică a oamenilor care muncesc, nu știu, de dimineața până seara și după aia nu mai au timp liber cam deloc și își repetă jobul non-stop și practic viața e plictisitoare și explică cum Stanley și-ar dori să exploreze zone necunoscute, să fie în natură, ceva de genul, ce înțeleg eu, dar pur și simplu nu poate, degeaba își dorește pentru că zi de zi se duce la muncă și practic ne spune că Stanley nu neapărat că nu are pasiuni, doar că habar n-am. Și a intrat în zona de confort atât de mult încât face același job non-stop și nu face nimic altceva. Cred că la asta se referă. Și acum ne punem să apăsăm butoane.
And so he began to fantasize about his own job. First, he imagined that one day while at work, he stepped up from his desk to realize that all of his co-workers, his boss, everyone in the building had suddenly vanished off the face of the earth. The thought excited him terribly.
Zice că stătea la televizor și se gândea cum ar fi să dispară toți colegii de muncă, șeful, toată lumea. Să dispară absolut de tot de pe planetă.
So, he went further. He imagined that he came to two open doors and that he could go through either. At last, choice. It
Avea de
barely
ales.
even mattered what lay behind each door.
Conta ce era în spatele ușii.
That his decisions would mean something was almost too wonderful to behold.
Practic el voia să aibă decizii de luat și imagina că sunt două uși, nu conta ce în spatele lor, doar să conteze să ia el o decizie. Pregătim masa.
As he wandered through this fantasy world, he began to fill it with many possible paths and destinations. Down one path lay an enormous round room with monitors and mind controls. And down another was a yellow line that weaved in many directions. And down another was a game with a baby. And he called it the Stanley Parable.
De ce l-a numit jocul ăsta Stanley Parable? Practic ne descrie ce se întâmplă, că într-o cameră e o cameră de aia mare cu multe monitoare și că în altă parte e o linie galbenă, că în altă parte e un bebeluș. Noi n-am fost în celelalte două camere.
It was such a wonderful fantasy, and so in his head he relived it again, and then again, and again, over and over, wishing that it would never end, that he might always feel this free. Surely there's an answer down some new path, mustn't there be? Perhaps if he played just one more time.
Acum mai joacă încă o dată. Y ca să-i spui soției că o iubești, dar parcă n-aveam soție.
But there is no answer.
Nu e niciun răspuns.
In reality, all he's doing is pushing the same buttons he always has.
Iar mereu
Nothing
a
has
apăsat
changed.
aceleași butoane.
The longer he spends here, the more invested he gets, the more he forgets which life is the real one.
Deci înțeleg că nu trebuie să mai apăs pe buton? Hai să vedem ce se întâmplă dacă nu apăsăm. Habar n-am care-i Cred că o să ne pună să rejucăm din nou și să alegem alt drum. Văd că dacă n-apăs nimic, nu se întâmplă nimic. Ia stai să mă mișcă, poate. Nu are legătură.
And I'm trying to tell him this. That in this world he can never be anything but an observer.
Nu poate fi nimic decât să observe, un observator.
Slowly killing himself. But he won't listen to me. He won't stop. Here, watch this. Stanley, the next time the screen asks you to push a button, do not do it.
Press you to be at work in the morning. Ok, ele să nu apăsăm. Hai să nu apăsăm. Deci trebuie să apăsăm. Nu se întâmplă nimic dacă nu apeși. Pur și simplu.
You see? Can he just not hear me?
Nu mă poate auzi? Ne-a resetat camera la loc. Oh my god.
How can I make him look at himself? I suppose I can't. Not in the way I want him to. But I don't make the rules. I simply play to my intended purpose, the same as Stanley. We're not so different, I suppose.
Nu suntem diferiți.
I'll try once more to convey all this to him. I'm compelled to. I must.
Vreau să-i transmită ceva lui Stanley, naratorul.
Maybe this time he'll see. Maybe this time.
Poate de data asta să vadă. Please die.
Stanley pushed a button. And I tried again.
What?
Stanley pushed a button. And I tried.
Uh-oh, ne-a resetat, ce-a făcut? Well, well, well.
Even now, Stanley's office was a distant memory. What did it look like? There was a computer, perhaps, and a painting. Was it a painting or a photo? He could no longer recall. When Stanley came to a set of two open doors, this was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well.
Să facem stânga, pe unde ne zice ăsta. Oare ne duce la loc?
Yes.
Acolo cred că ne reunim cu drumul principal. Asta încercam să vă zic mai devreme. Hai să mergem jos aici să... Nu știu... Deci am înțeles care e ideea cu jocul. Trebuie să încercăm toate direcțiile, toate opțiunile.
But Stanley didn't want to go back to the office. He wanted to wander about and get even further off track.
Vrea să se ducă și mai departe. Trebuie să se ducă...
From here it's
Nici ăsta nu știe. Trebuie să ducă la stânga. Și mai sunt alte camere? Văd că nu. Ok.
Oh no, no, it's to the right, my mistake.
Wow! Face mișto asta?
No, 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 not the right. Why would I have ever said it was to the right?
De ce am zis la
What was
dreapta?
I thinking? It's clearly... Oh dear, would you hold on for a minute, please? Now, let's see. We went down right, left, down, left, right. Yep, okay, yes. I've got it now. This story is absolutely, definitely this way.
Stop playing, dog. Ok. Bun. Deci cică pe aici.
No. This isn't right at all. You're not supposed to be here yet.
Nu trebuie să fie aici încă.
Spoiler. Quick, Stanley, close your eyes.
Închideți ochii.
Okay. We just have to get back to Oh, who am I kidding? It's all rubbish now.
E la gunoi acum.
Story
Toată
completely
povestea.
unusable. How about rather than waste my time trying to salvage this nonsense, we'll just restart the game from the
Nu
beginning.
restarta
This
jocul.
time, suppose we don't wander so far off track, Okay, from the top.
Bă, m-a spart de capul mulețul ăsta. Dacă nu merge jocul cum vrea, el ne resetează tot. What, e altă ușă aici? Totul ar trebui să fie... Am restartat jocul.
Stanley, did you change anything when we were back in that room with all the monitors? Did you move the story somewhere or... Hold on. Why am I asking you? I'm the one who wrote the story.
Cel care a scris
It was right
povestea?
here just a minute ago. I know for
Naratorul
sure
zice.
that it's here somewhere. Okay then, it's an adventure. Come, Stanley, let's find the story.
Asta pare să fie aceeași cameră. Hai să găsim povestea, nu știu. Știe cineva unde e? Unde sunt? Mai și pe partea elaltă. What? Bro.
I'll say it. This is the worst adventure I've ever been on.
Cea mai proastă aventură.
There definitely was a story here before. Do we need to restart the game again? Well, I find it unlikely that we'll ever
What? Am ieșit
progress
prin
by
față.
starting over and over again, but it's got to be better than this. Okay, let's give it a shot. Why not?
Here we go again.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. Okay, yep, it's
Unde
worse.
sunt băușile?
I might be remembering this wrong. It's possible the story is back where we just came from. Why don't we go back the other direction and see if we missed
Să ne
anything?
întoarce, să vedem dacă arăta ceva. Îmi vorbește naratorul ăsta ca și cum ar fi lângă mine. Știi când te joci cu un prieten? Gen, ca și cum ar fi lângă mine și încercăm să ne dăm seama care e drumul corect la joc. Și zice, bă, hai să ne întoarcem înapoi să vedem dacă mai e vreun drum. Oh, God. Șobolane, zi bă direct pe unde trebuie să mă duc. A pus pe taste, eu.
Aha! I knew we'd missed something.
Am arătat ceva.
The story. Here it comes.
Acum vine povestea.
Never mind, not the story. Okay, let's head back the other way
Hai înapoi.
and retrace our steps.
S-a schimbat numai. Ne-am teleportat.
Well, I'll be honest, I don't recognize this place at all.
Nu știu ce e locul ăsta.
Is this the story?
Asta e
I don't
povestea?
think so.
Nu
I
cred.
can't quite recall, but I believe my story took place in an office building. Is that correct?
Eram într-un birou.
Do you remember, Stanley? Well, do you know what? Since I've completely forgotten what we were supposed to be doing,
Am uitat ce trebuie să
how
facem.
about this? You win!
Yay!
Congratulations!
Easy!
You put in a lot of hard work, and it really paid off. So, good job.
Easy pentru mine.
No, I don't feel right about this at all. We both know you didn't put in any
Și
actual
fiul în
work
descriere,
for that win.
băieții.
Some people win fair and square, and this was not one of those situations. Okay, I'm getting weirded out by whatever this place is. I don't care what might happen this time, I have to restart.
Mi-a făcut capul pătrat.
All right, I've got a solution. This time, to make sure we don't get lost, I've employed the help of the Stanley
E linia galbenă
Parable
despre care vorbeam mai
adventure
devreme.
line. Just follow the line. How simple is that?
Urmează linia.
You see? The line knows where the story is. It's over in this direction.
Trebuie să găsim
Onward,
povestea
Stanley,
noi.
to destiny. Though, here's a thought. Wouldn't wherever we end up be our destination, even if there's no story there? Or to put it another way, is the story of no destination still a story? Simply by the act of moving forward, are we implying a journey such that a destination is inevitably conjured into being via the very manifestation of the nature of life itself? Whoa. Hang on. That got a bit weird back there. Well, I'd like to apologize. Not sure where I was going.
A nebunit ăsta, bă, a luat o razna.
I think what we need right now is a bit of music to lighten the mood. Wait, cut the music.
Bă,
Go back
cântam.
and look at that fern. Wait, what? We're back at the office? No.
Iară mirouri.
No. Line, you do know we're looking for the Stanley parable, right? The story? Oh, no, not again. Line, how could you have done this to us? And after we trusted you.
Am avut încredere în tine.
We've been through, you... Well, I can't take this anymore to hell.
Era funny să vedem un alt jucător acolo, cum era în spatele poveștii, cum ar veni și să... Știi ce zic?
Restart.
Nu, iar! Restart Simulator e ăsta.
You know what, Stanley? I say forget the adventure line. What's it ever done for us? We're intelligent people,
Suntem
right?
inteligenți, hai să lăsăm
Why can't we make
linia.
up our own story?
Ne facem noi povestea.
Exciting, daring, mysterious.
Ceva misterios.
This all sounds perfectly doable. Why don't we simply start wandering in, well, I don't know. How about this direction?
Mă doare capul, bă!
Now, yes, this is exciting.
Asta e
Just me and
distractiv.
Stanley forging a new path, a new story. Well, it could be anything. What do you want our story to be?
Ceva mișto să râdem.
Use your imagination.
Vrea ceva să ne
Whatever it
spargem de
might be,
râs.
Stanley, I'm ready for it.
Ascultă-mă, naratorule, ceva să ne spargem de râs.
Oh, no, not you again.
Iar linia.
Stanley, I'd also like to veto the line from having any role in our awesome new story. No lines or monitor
Șterge
readings.
linia aia.
Just don't acknowledge it, and we should be fine. Ah, a choice. We get to make a decision. From here, the story is in our control.
Noi controlăm
How
povestea.
important we mustn't squander the opportunity. In fact, I believe I need a minute to think here. Just walk in circles for a minute.
Trebuie să gândească naratorul,
So I
cică.
know that each door has to lead somewhere, which means that somewhere the place where we're trying to go,
Trebuie să
there
ne
must
ducă
be
undeva
a
ușa.
reverse door that leads here. And that in turn means that our destination corresponds with the counter-inverted reverse door's origin. So starting from the right, let us ask, will taking the right door lead us to where we're going? And since the answer is clearly yes, then by all accounts, the door on the right is the correct one. Another victory for logic. Come, Stanley, our destiny awaits.
Ending-ul care te face confuz. Erau ambele uși la fel?
Fusion ending. You're telling me that's what this is? It's all one giant ending? And we're supposed to restart the game what, eight times? That's really how all
Asta e tot
this
jocul?
is? It's all determined?
Ah, cred că ce am făcut noi până acum.
I restart again. Then what? Am I just
After a
supposed
long
to
time,
forget?
Stanley
Well,
dies.
what if I don't want to forget? My mind goes blank simply because it's written here on this thing, wall. Well,
De restartează
consult
repede.
me. Why don't I get to decide? Why don't I get a say in all of this? Is it really? No, it can't be. I don't want it to be. I don't want the game to keep restarting. I don't want to forget what's going on. I don't want to be trapped like this. I won't restart the game. I won't do it. I won't do it. I won't do it.
The narrator is
And
gone.
The timer stopped? Does that mean, did we do it? Did we break the cycle? The, whatever it is that made this schedule? How would we even know? Will someone come for us? Will something happen?
Se va întâmpla ceva.
So, okay. I guess now we just wait. You know,
Așteptăm.
I suppose in some way that this is a kind of story, wouldn't you agree? I'm not quite sure if we're in the
Get bored and
destination
leave.
or the journey, though they're always saying that life is about the journey and not the destination. So I hope that's where we are right now. We'll find out, won't we? Eventually. Well, in the meantime, if you do...
Ne-a coșat ăsta cu
A soft
restarturile.
wind blew outside and perhaps rain started, and if it did, it stopped shortly after. Stanley hoped that he would one day see weather.
New content. Buggers!
New content? What does that mean?
Content! Conținut! Distracție! Râdem, ne spargem, facem! Vorbește omul ăsta non-stop, bă! Ia! Ceva fresh pentru noi. Proaspăt.
Hello, and thank you for playing the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe.
What? Suntem un FNAF!
As you may know, the Stanley Parable was a video game released in 2013
S-a lansat în
on home
2013.
computers. After receiving critical
Wait! Hold on a second. Abia de aici începe jocul? De varianta Deluxe? Sau... Că știi că... Oh my...
and commercial success, it was expanded upon in 2022
Fost extins în
with the
2022.
Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe,
În
a
Ultra Deluxe.
reimagining of the game for consoles and home computers.
Oh god.
The Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe features exciting new content.
New
that broadens
content?
and expands the world of the Stanley Parable, delighting audiences the world over.
Casă.
Please step inside and see what thrilling new adventures await in the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe.
Oh, well, this sounds delightful. I'm very excited to see the thrilling new Ultra Deluxe content. Okay, so far it's an elevator.
Momentan e un
Nothing
lift.
special yet,
Nimic
but I'm
special.
sure it's just the beginning of a mesmerizing adventure.
Da, o să fie o aventură mișto.
Is it broken? What's going on here?
Bă!
Should we be moving somewhere or...
Ce content e ăsta? Nu merge liftul.
All right, finally, at long last, it's on to the new content. I've never been more ready. Let's do it.
Ia, content nou. Țineți-vă pe scaune. Vine acum, acum vine.
Initial impressions of Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe. Mostly tedious. It's as if them... Oh, okay. Let's see the content. Give me the
Hai să vedem
content,
jocul.
Stanley.
What the... Ăsta e contentul?
All right, let's see. It's the jump circle.
Oh, sărim, respect. Pe bune.
Is that it? Surely that's not all the new content. There has to be something else, right? Goodness. Another elevator. Stanley, I have to say, initial impressions of this game are not positive. It's just elevators and jumping. Is this what passes for exciting new content? If this is new content, then I could just read you the whole dictionary. There's 20 hours of new content right there. Hell, I could counter 30 trillion. You could put that on the box. The Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, now with over 1,000 hours of new content. And oh wait, there's more. Very good. Yes. I knew there had to be something else. Let's see it. I'm ready for whatever it is.
E pregătit, cică. Hai și noi suntem pregătiți.
That's it?
Mulțumesc că te bucuri de noul content.
You see, Stanley? This is what happens when greedy video game developers with no respect for their fan base rush a cheap expansion to market for no reason other than to make an easy dollar. And don't get me started on the level of
Ok, deci ăsta acum face mișto de developerii care își bag joc de fanii, de comunitatea creată, aruncând DLC-uri sau așa, doar să fie cash grab, adică cash grab că gen le fură banii și nu e niciun content nou.
Craftsmanship that's gone into it. In fact, I'm looking right now at the game's achievements, and it's hard to believe one of them actually says, "Test achievement, please ignore." What quality assurance department signed off on this? I'm infuriated and I'm offended. And I intend to find these people on Twitter and hold them personally accountable. It's my fault, Stanley.
E vina mea, Stanley.
Too much anticipation around the new content, I'm afraid.
Am creat prea mult hype pentru content.
Lived up to such expectations. If you're still with me, Why don't we just reset the game?
Classic.
And we'll try to get back to what the Stanley Parable is really about.
Classic.
No frills, no gimmicks. Just you and me having a great time together like always. What do you say, friend?
Ne întreabă, dar nici nu mai contează că ne restartează jocul oricum. Oh, shoot, man.
Stanley, come over here.
Vino aici.
In the vent. I want to show you something.
Vreau să arăt ceva. Ok.
Okay, you remember how cheap and unsatisfying the new Ultra Deluxe content turned out to be? Well, it
True.
got me thinking about the past and how much
M-am gândit la
better the
trecut.
Stanley Parable used to be. So I made something special and tucked it away here where the game's developers won't find it. Just our little secret. Take a
Lumea noastră secretă.
I call it the Memory Zone. It's where I've been storing all my favorite memories so I can relive the peak experiences of my life whenever I want. Experiences like the launch of the Stanley Parable on PC. You see, Stanley, doesn't the Memory Zone remind you of how wonderful Stanley Parable was before it was sullied with a cheap re-release? Remember back in October of 2013 when the game originally launched? Back
Să-ți aminte în 2013? Nu, că nu l-am jucat.
Back then, it all meant something. Oh, the waste.
Dar nu prea nostalgic pentru mine, că nu l-am jucat.
And over here is where I keep reviews of the Stanley Parable. Like this stunning triumph of games journalism, 10 out of 10 from Destructoid.com. James Stephanie Sterling writes, and I quote, "Where so many games that aspire to be more than games end up less than any form of art, Stanley Parable strives and then succeeds to be every game ever created."
Că e cel mai bun
Did you hear
joc
that,
creat
Stan?
vreodată.
Every game ever created.
10 din
That's
10.
how grand and all-encompassing the original Stanley Parable was. It was literally every game ever created. It was Skyrim, it was Persona 3, it was all of them, and now...
Ok, deci ne zice ceva de Stanley Parable că e mai bun ca orice joc creat vreodată sau ne zice că e ca orice joc creat?
Oh, it's
Acum nu e
nothing.
nimic.
It's no games at all.
Nu mai e niciun
It
joc.
isn't even the Stanley Parable anymore.
Nici nu mai e Stanley Parable.
Just a husk now. A lifeless
Și-a pierdut
husk
viața.
with an hour of new elevator content. Here's another moving passage, this time from GameSpot.com.
Sunt
The
review-uri
Stanley
astea.
Parable is both a richly stimulating commentary on the nature of choice in games and one that offers some of the most enjoyable, surprising, and rewarding choices I've ever been confronted with in a game. 9 out of 10. Don't you get it, Stanley? The game was
Jocul era perfect.
It didn't need anything else. It didn't need new content.
Nu avea nevoie de
It just
conținut nou.
needed to be left alone.
Trebuia
To
lăsat în
spend the
pace.
rest of time collecting dust in the hallowed hall of beloved video game memories.
Ok.
These were simpler times, Stanley.
Erau vremuri
What I
simple.
wouldn't give to go back, to have it all over again. Wait, hang on. I don't recall this part of the memory zone before.
Steam.
What's this? What's down here? Oh no. Oh God, no. Stanley, it's a collection of reviews from Steam,
Review-uri
the
de pe
online
Steam.
video game distributor. I haven't looked at these in years. I can't even imagine what's been collecting down here. Surely these reviews were glowing as well, weren't they?
Sigur, review-urile astea erau bune, corect?
Honestly, I could not be bothered to play this game to full completion. The narrator is obnoxious and
Naratorul e enervant și neamuzant.
with his humor and dialogue proving to be more irritating than
E iritant.
entertaining. Unfunny! I'm not trying to be funny.
Whoa.
I'm trying to make a serious work of art. I
Nu
suppose I
încerc să
could
fiu
write up a
amuzant.
handful of gags to insert into the Stanley Parable, but the game is already such a densely layered web of profound philosophical insights that I can't even imagine where I'd have the room to stick
E filozofic jocul, nu știu ce încearcă să ne zică asta.
Okay, let's see what this one says. While the idea for the game is good, for someone who prefers
Devine repetitiv și plictisitor. True, are dreptate asta.
Preachy? Stanley, I'm not preachy, am I? You can tell me if I'm preachy. Honestly, you can.
Eu nu știu ce înseamnă preachy.
This is actually quite shocking for me. I always, well, to be honest, I had always thought of the game's dialogue as being rather terse to begin with. You can't know how much fluff I cut from the game to get it to feel as light and airy as it, well, I always
2016 review.
but maybe it wasn't.
Deci ăsta face o reacție a review-urilor, cum ar veni.
Awful memory.
Înțeleg care e faza cu jocul. Deci, după atâta timp și oamenii sunt super nostalgici, jucând jocul în 2013, 14, 15 și așa, revine în 2022 și oarecum e tot naratorul ăla, dar își pune perspectiva lui după atâția ani. Și într-un fel îl înțeleg, e interesantă ideea. Citește review-uri și mai departe.
I feel like a failure. Like I let
E ca un
these
prieten cu
people
care n-ai mai vorbit de mult timp.
Perhaps the
Și te auzi
Stanley
iar.
parable isn't quite as sterling as I always remembered. What's this one got to say?
10 ore jucat, ăsta ești
You
nebun.
constantly have to stop doing anything so the narrator can catch up with his long-winded explanations of what's happening. I wish there was a skip button.
Aș fi vrut să dau skip,
A skip button?
că vorbește ăsta prea mult.
Well, yes. Yes, I think we can do that.
Cred că putem face asta.
Too preachy then. Then maybe letting you skip ahead for just a moment, surely it couldn't hurt.
Nu m-ar răni dacă ai dat
What if
skip.
it means we can strike these negative reviews from the record? Only positive reviews of the Stanley Parable. That's my motto today, and it's always been my motto. I'd do anything for the customer, Stanley. Yes, a skip button we shall have.
Sigur, hai să adăugăm un buton de skip.
And here it is.
Let's skip
Go
this
ahead.
shit. Skip. Skip, 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 skip.
You see, you
Te-ai
were
întors?
only frozen in time for a few minutes, but it was plenty of time for me to deliver a long, rambling monologue full of unnecessary
Cât timp am dat lui
verbal
skip, ăsta a vorbit
flourishes
mult.
and lengthy ruminations on the nature of choice in video.
Skip.
Well, there, sport. You really did catch me rambling on a bit, didn't you? But that's the power of the button. The minute I start to go off on a thoughtless display of self-absorption, it's right at your fingertips.
Skip.
Okay, welcome back, Stanley. Now, I
Bine
should
te-ai
say
întors?
that the amount of time the button has been skipping through is becoming longer and longer. That last one was, well, I want to say maybe...
Am dat 30 de minute,
45
skip.
minutes. It's not...
Skip.
Stanley, please don't push the button again. It's been 12 hours.
12 ore de
You've
vorbit.
just been frozen there. I don't know why the skips are getting longer, but they're
Skip.
really... Oh, Stanley, you're back.
Am bătrânit ăsta.
Back. Oh, my goodness. I have someone to talk to again.
Am cu cine să vorbesc chiar.
Stanley, I think it's been a week.
Trecut o săptămână.
2 weeks.
2?
I've been sitting here all...
Next.
Oh, hello. It's you. You're here again. Welcome. I have had time to think about you and about us and
Skip. Ok, nu mai zice nimic. Vedem că e o ușă în spate sau ceva. Skip. Incendiu. Da, cred că o să dăm un mic skip, actually.
But they didn't understand the game was never meant to be funny. It was meant to have a point. It was meant to
Jocul ăsta
speak
e
to the
amuzant.
human condition. But where are the jokes? Where are the jokes? They bemoaned.
sunt
They
glumele.
screamed. They gnashed their teeth and said, "Entertain us."
Skip. Cred că o să dau un mic skip, sincer. 69 de minute! Come on, bro! Și... Se mai întâmplă, bă, ceva cu jocul ăsta, că nebunesc. Încep să iau razna cu aia cu review-urile. Dărâmă clădirea. Cred că dăm skip la câte o lună acum. S-ar putea să facă un drum să ieșim. Sau nu? Cam gata, bă.
All of his co-workers were gone. What did it mean?
My
Stanley
God.
decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, this was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. The lounge was sublime, a work of art. But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left. And so he detoured through the maintenance section, walked straight ahead to the opposite door, and got back on track. Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss. Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office. Okay, I think we all know the drill by now. Blah, blah, blah. Dark secrets, the keypad. Stanley pushes some buttons. Oh, hey, look, it's a new passageway.
Wow, s-au deschis fără să apăsăm. Zice că știm deja ce avem de făcut. Bla, 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 apăsăm butoane. Habar am și de să mai fac. Nu știu dacă trebuia să mă duc la ăla cu new content. N-am nicio idee.
Now the monitors jumped to life, their true nature revealed. Each bore the number of an employee in the building, Stanley's co-workers. The lives of so many individuals reduced to images on a screen, and Stanley, one of them, eternally monitored in this place where...
Habar n-am dacă trebuie să ajung aici. Oh my god. Ok, am dat restart din nou. Cred că trebuie să intru la new content.
He hoped it was. He hoped very much that it was.
Cred că trebuie să intru la new content.
You noticed my sign. Yes, I have something very exciting to show you.
Da, trebuie să intrăm aici. Oh, Doamne. Deci, nu o să mai intru pe gaura aia pe care ne zice el, cred? Dar nici nu mai știu unde era groapa aia. Iar liftul.
You see, Stanley, I've been reflecting on the Stanley parable and about how roundly disappointing this ultra deluxe version
dezamăgitoare varianta de ultra.
The original Stanley parable was a landmark, and any new content for it should live up to that legacy. So forget this ultra deluxe nonsense. I say we take it one step even further.
Mergem mai departe.
Which is why I'm very proud to announce for the first time ever the Stanley Parable 2.
Doiu, bă. The Stanley Parable 2,
yes,
okay.
You see, isn't this far superior to a measly re-release with a few minor additions? Think of all the new territory we'll cover with a fully fledged sequel, an entirely new experience built from the
Noul
ground
joc.
up. Why, there are so many possibilities. It could go in so many different directions. This is what fans have truly been asking for. Now, to be clear, I haven't quite nailed down what exactly the Stanley Parable 2 is going to be, but let's take a look at some of the features I've been developing for it. I figure that if I can loosely organize a handful of interesting concepts, that surely the game will sort of naturally spring up around them. It'll all work itself out. Here we are. Go on. Try out
Unde
some of the
suntem,
new
bă?
features.
The button that says the name of the player that is playing the game. No shot, bro.
For the Stanley Parable 2, I asked myself,
Ce vor oamenii pentru al doilea joc?
and of course, the first and most obvious answer is that they want to be individually recognized and validated as people. So with that sorry, I should have clarified. Right now, the button only says the name Jim. But of course, in the final game, this button will say your
Dacă te cheamă
name,
Jim.
whatever name that is. Here, let's have you role-play as Jim to really simulate the full experience of this feature. Just play along. I promise you'll love it. Okay, here we go. Let's take a deep breath, clear your mind, forget whoever you are, and simply become a person named Jim.
Gata, am devenit Jim
I
acum.
want you to imagine yourself living as Jim.
Trăiesc ca Jim.
Sleeping and waking as Jim.
Dacă
Falling in
zic
love
chiar te
and
cheamă
being
Jim.
heartbroken as Jim. Whoa, hold on. I wasn't finished setting up the backstory.
Dați-mi butonul de skip. Iar a început.
Then you'll never understand the impact of this button. Otherwise, it's just a stupid button that says somebody else's name. Okay, we're doing it again, and this time let me finish first.
Că
Now, allow yourself to become Jim. Imagine... Alright, fine,
Jim.
whatever. It's just a meaningless button that says Jim. Are you happy now? Get out of here. I'm done with this button. Why don't you go humiliate me in front of a different feature that I worked very hard on?
interesant. Să știi că, zic, cât timp mă jucam în episodul ăsta, mă gândeam și acum ar fi să zică pe nume ăsta, nu să mai zică Stanley. Ar fi mai personalizat. Free new plus easy achievement, infinite hole. Ok. No screenshots.
Stanley, here's an idea that I'm truly fond of. It's never been done before in a video game. This is in fact a hole that you can fall down forever. That's right.
Gaură fără fund.
Falling. You can fall until the end of time if you like. A stunning leap forward for video games as a medium. You see, isn't it wonderful? One of my more ingenious concoctions, if I do say so. Now then, since you've gotten to see the infinite hole, you can press the teleport button to pop back up to the top, and we can continue onward. Now, I don't mean to be a bummer. Great. Now, I'm very excited to show you even more of my ideas for the sequel.
Infinite hole. Cred că vrea să ne întoarcem. Băi, nu știu să zic așa overall despre joc. Adică mie personal, uite cum am jucat acum 80 de minute, mi cam ajunge, deja mi s-a luat de joc. Sincer vă zic. Cred că de l-ai jucat în... Da... Habar n-am.
Collectibles. Now it's a real video game. In the Stanley Parable 2, you'll run around gathering up these miniature Stanley figurines. And what's truly innovative is that there will be no reward for collecting all of them.
Nu o să primești nimic dacă le colectezi pe toate.
Intrinsic joy of watching a number go up. You simply collect all
Doar
of
le
them,
colectezi,
and then you move
fără
the hell
recompense.
on with your unremarkable life.
Zice că în al doilea joc o să fie chestii de colecționat. 1 din 6. Nice, nice. Collect them all.
God, it really is the worst when you collect everything in a video game and then they give you a big fancy reward for it. Absolutely tragic.
Trebuie să testezi toate astea sau ce fac, că nu înțeleg.
Calling it the Stanley Parable 2 is just so much catchier than Ultra Deluxe, don't you think? Ultra Deluxe? What does it even mean?
Ce înseamnă Ultra Deluxe?
Oh goodness, Stanley, this is fairly awkward. I hate to do this, but before you leave, you really should go to the bucket exhibit. You see, there's a surprise I was going to spring on you later, and it involves the bucket. And I really do hate to break the illusion, but it's important that you go see the bucket, okay? All right, I'll get out of your hair now.
Vrea să mergem neapărat la găleată. Nu ne lasă să avansăm în joc dacă nu mergem acolo. Mărci, ok.
A common complaint of the Stanley Parable was that it was confusing and paradoxical, that it engendered a chaotic sense of reckless despair in those who played it. Well, I'm happy to say that after much consideration, I've engineered a clever solution to this fundamental problem with the
Am
game.
venit cu o soluție.
It's the Stanley Parable Reassurance Bucket. You see, Stanley, anytime you're holding the bucket, a sense of calm and ease will fill your mind and your heart. It's true. As long as you hold on to the bucket, the many disorienting contradictions of the Stanley Parable will feel perfectly normal and perhaps even comforting. You may even come to long for the gentle embrace of jarring cognitive dissonance while the bucket is in your arms. And to be honest, it's a much more convenient solution for me than actually redesigning the game to be less uncomfortable. Can you imagine what a pain in the ass that would be? Yes, the bucket is the perfect solution. Come on, give it a try.
Și că găleata asta o să ne asigure că totul e bine, că nu știu ce.
Can you feel it? The glow of comfort, even in the face of crushing despair, must already be sweeping through your body. And in fact, can I say that I do believe the bucket lends you an air of charisma as well? I think that just holding it has made you the slightest bit more attractive as a person. The benefits of the bucket seem to go on, don't they? All this and more await you in the Stanley Parable 2.
Ce m-a pus să vin să iau găleata asta? Aia nu înțeleg. Ca să facă mișto de noi sau ceva de genul?
Does anyone give out awards for most enjoyable bucket in a video game? That really should be an award if it isn't already.
Înțeleg ideea. E un pic așa, gen... Faci mișto de ceilalți developeri într-o oarecare măsură. Legată de diferite feature-uri din jocuri, cum e cu achievement-ul și așa mai departe. Ok.
So, Stanley, what do you think? Do you like all of the new features? Yes, I know it's not exactly clear yet how exactly these features will come together as one single coherent video game, but...
Cred că mi-a ajuns, boys, nu mai pot. Nu mai pot, 85 de minute e limita mea pentru jocul ăsta. M-a demolat de creier. Pur și simplu cât de mult vorbește. O să-l mai joc din nou? Nu prea cred. Decât dacă o să vă placă vouă extrem de mult episodul și vreți să continuăm. Dar pentru mine 85 de minute mi-a ajuns. Deși eu am impresia că nu am ajuns unde trebuie. Adică cred că e mult mai mult de atât din joc. Pentru că din ce văzusem pe live-uri, din ce jucau alții, văzusem câteva scene funny din alte jocuri. Adică în jocul ăsta o să ajungi în alte jocuri. Și cum să vă explic, ca să nu dau spoilere, copiază scenele din alte jocuri identice. Adică ca și cum intri în jocul ăla, abia ești în jocul ăsta. Și erau niște... Chiar aș fi vrut să văd ce zice la secvențele respective. Doar văzusem, știi? Că a ajuns acolo, dar nu m-am uitat. Însă noi nu am reușit în 86 de minute să ajungem acolo. Cred că făceam mișto tot așa de developer, dar în mai multe jocuri. Poate urmează chiar acum să se întâmple chestia respectivă? Habar n-am. Dar mi-a ajuns. Dacă v-a plăcut episodul și ce aveți de făcut, vedeți link-ul în descriere. G2A poate îl găsiți pe la un preț mai ieftin dacă vă interesează, că e un pic scumpicel joc cu 20 de euro. Le mulțumim din nou developerilor pentru cheiță. Vedem și review-urile pozitive. I'm sorry to give this game a negative review. Wow. Ok. Însă, ne oprim aici, v-am lăsat.